Rajatana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Gunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare Madhava Ki Jai Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, erste Frage. Wer kann übersetzen? Kannst du übersetzen, Brian? Jan, du sprichst Deutsch und Russisch, oder? Okay, so we have 2 English speakers and 2 German and 1 Italian, English, little German. Okay. Hello, Hare Krishna. Is anybody in the audience somewhere who can translate for Kishore Kund and Jan? Please come to the temple room. Please come to the temple room. In the old days, they used to have some loudspeaker here, yeah, that they gave announcements. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ayanam Namaskritam Naram Jiva Narotamam Devim Sarasvatim Visham Tata Jaya Madhurya Snaprija Sapata Shunityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati. So, was soll ich machen? Should I speak in 2 languages? Soll ich in 2 Sprachen sprechen? Let's try. So, today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the 4th canto, entitled Creation of the 4th Order. So, heute wir lesen im Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the 4th canto. I don't know how you describe. Wie heißt das in Deutsch? Der 4. Canto? Kishore Kund? Wie heißt der 4. Canto? Hat das einen Titel, wo du bist? Here is the creation of the 4th order. So, We have, I speak in English, Mataji, but I will try a little bit of German. Huh? Die Schöpfung der neuen Ordnung. Oh, very nice. And we are closing up chapter 7, which is the sacrifice performed by Daksha. So, jetzt sprechen wir über Kapitel 7. Das ist etwas über Daksha oder Sacrifice. Brian, if you could find someone who might be able to translate. Oh, you were on the way. See? Great Temple Commander. Already on it. Okay. So, here is text 59. War jemand hier gestern? Was somebody here yesterday? Because I had that I should begin with text 58. Did you have a verse with a purport or not? Prabhupada lecture, of course, yes. I don't want to skip a verse if that was... I have 4 verses today because only one has a real purport. Ich habe 4 Verse. Kishorkun, warst du da am Sonntag? Hat wirklich 58 gelesen oder vielleicht das war 57? I will just do text 58 but we will recite 59 so that we don't have any. So, ich fange an mit 58, weil ich muss heute eigentlich 4 Verse machen, weil viele hat keine Erläuterung, okay? Okay, so text 58. Evam dakshani hitva sati purva kalevaram yagnehimavata shetra minaya mitushruma. So translation. Maitreya said, I have heard that after giving up the body she had received from Daksha, Dakshani, his daughter, or Sati, took her birth in the kingdom of the Himalayas. She was born as the daughter of Mena. I heard this from authoritative sources. Mena is purport. Mena is also known as Menaka and is the wife of the king of the Himalayas. So now we go to text 59. Let's do word by word to help with pronunciation. Okay. Tam, him, Lord Shiva. Eva, certainly. Daitam, beloved. Bhuyaha, again. Avrinkte, accepted. Patim, as her husband. Ambika, or Sati. Anya Bhava, Ananya Bhava, without attachment for others. Eka Gatim, the one goal. Shakti, the feminine, marginal and external energies. Supta, lying dormant. Eva, as. Purusham, the masculine. Lord Shiva, as representative of the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much. We will now do line by line. Good. Tameva daitam bhuya, tameva daitam bhuya, tameva daitam bhuya. Avrinkte patim ambika, avrinkte patim ambika, avrinkte patim ambika. Ananya bhavakya gatim, ananya bhavakya gatim, ananya bhavakya gatim, bhavakya gatim. Shakti Supteva Purusham, Shakti Supteva Purusham, Shakti Supteva Purusham. Jan, möchtest du das probieren zum Wiederholen? Tameva daitam bhuya, avrinkte patmambika. Ananya Bhavaikyatim Shakti Subdeva Purusham. Matajis, please. Tammeva Daitam Bhuya Vrinke Patimambika Ananya Bhavaika Gatim Shakti Subdeva Purusham Tammeva Daitam Bhuya Avrinkte Patimambika Ananya Bhavakai Gatim Shakti Sukti Purusham. Tammeva Daitam Bhuya Avrinkte Patimambika Ananya Bhavakya Gatim Shakti Subdeva Purisham. Translation. Ambika. So bitte die andere in Deutsch nur weiterlesen, okay? Ich mache bis Ende die Kapitel. Sorry, I just said that I would read till the end of the chapter. So translation of this verse. Ambika, goddess Durga, who was known as Dakshayini, Sati, again accepted Lord Shiva as her husband, just as different energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead act during the course of a new creation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to a verse of the Vedic mantras, Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has different varieties of energies. Shakti is feminine, and the Lord is Purusha, masculine. It is the duty of the female to serve under the Supreme Purusha. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, all the living entities are marginal energies of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is the duty of all living entities to serve the Supreme Person. Durga is a representation in the material world of both the marginal and external energies, and Lord Shiva is a representation of the Supreme Person. The connection of Lord Shiva and Ambika, or Durga, is eternal. Sati could not accept any husband but Lord Shiva. How Lord Shiva remarried Durga as Hirmavati, the daughter of the Himalayas, and how Kartikeya was born is a great story in itself. Okay, text 60. Etad bhagavateya shambhoha karma dakshrattvara duraha shrutam bhagavatat chishyad udavan me prahashpate. Translation. Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, I heard this story of the Daksha Yajna, which was devastated by Lord Shiva, from Uddhava, a great devotee and a disciple of Prahaspati." Okay, text 61 and the last of this chapter. Okay, a different meter. Idam pavitram param, idam pavitam, sorry. Idam pavitram param isha cheshtitam yasha yamayusham. No, I want to. Idam pavitram param isha cheshtitam yasham ashushamago mashanam yo nityata kanyadaro nukitiyat dunotagam korava bhakti bhavattaha. Translation. The great sage Maitreya concluded, if one hears and again narrates with faith and devotion this story of the Daksha Yajna, as it was connected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, then certainly one is cleared of all contamination of material existence, O son of Kuru. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 7th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha. Jai. Om Kanyati Manjischa Jnana Salakya Chakshumilitam Yena Tasmai Shugave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Shpatam Shriyana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahayam Tatati Sapadandikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we had this, how will I do with the German? I don't know. Okay, we will try. I will speak mostly in English, unfortunately or fortunately, and I will slip in a little bit of German now and again. Okay, so we read this verse, this chapters. I was asked to read a few of them because many don't have purport. And the last one with a purport was the one on the board, text 59, which speaks about Durga, well, Sati having left her body becomes Durga and actually marries Shiva, because it's like, you know, we say in English, it all well's good in the end. Oh, bist du da? Kannst du bitte übersetzen? Nee. Na, kannst du es bitte, nur eine halbe Stunde. Halbe Stunde. Oder kannst du da sitzen und dann reparieren hier im Tempelraum? Bitte. Aber musst du nur einfach machen für Kishore Kundanyan. Egal? Oh, du kannst Balaram zu mir schicken. Was kaputt? Brian, what do you think? It's better to have a translator than repair the Madanga, or? You told him the same? Oh, siehst du, er ist der Temple Commander. Bitte, weil es ist ganz schwer. It's very hard to give class if you know people cannot understand. Ja, aber es ist so schwer. Es gibt zwei, das muss ich gerne Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam hören, aber sie versteht nicht. Es ist so wichtig, ich spreche Chinesische oder so. Ich kann nicht übersetzen. Es ist schwer, wenn es ist so wie ich. Aber ich weiß nicht. Bitte. Nur eine halbe Stunde. Halbe Stunde. Ja. Ich schicke Charan Murari später. Sie können helfen. Bitte. Ja. So. Ja. Good. We give all his blessings after that he can repair, so he can translate. Yes, okay. So you take Madanga by Kishore Kund. Und dann, Jan, bitte ein bisschen einen Platz in der Kishore Kund und dann ein bisschen übersetzen. Na, aber eine halbe Stunde kannst du weiter dann später machen. Was ist dein anderer Dienst? You can try to translate. I'm really sorry to Ich sage eine Geschichte nur in Deutschland kurz. Wenn ich bin einfach hier gekommen, das war Woche lang, wo ich sitze in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, ich konnte nicht verstehen. I just felt that when I first came 12 years ago, there were many weeks that I sat for class and there was no translation. And it was a little bit like there is some divine information, but you cannot access it. So that's why it's like a little... I try to make it a little academic today, because I look at the audience and I see we have some intelligent ladies here, and Prabhus, of course, but the ones who are looking at me look very intelligent. So basically, this is sweet. I was just finishing off that Sati, I don't know about you, but when I hear in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that Sati leaves her body and, Shiva is outraged and Daksha gets his head cut off, I'm a little bit like, whoa, I'm not into horror stories so much. But what's nice at the end of this chapter, it tells us that Sati actually then took form as Durga and married Lord Shiva. Srila Prabhupada writes exactly the connection of Lord Shiva and Ambika or Durga is eternal. Sati could not accept any husband but Lord Shiva. Oh, thank you, my husband comes to translate. So kind. Pleading. Oh, Sometimes one has to beg, as devotees. I didn't do it before, but one has to try. How Lord Shiva remarried Durga as Himavati. This is a great story. So I tried to find out about this great story, but I didn't come up with anything. I'm sorry, that was bona fide or even relevant. And so I cannot say so much about this except that it ends nicely, and it's that Prabhupada says it's a great story. And then I was thinking, okay, so what do we speak about? There's roughly 3 or 4 verses I should cover. The last one saying that if we hear and again narrate with faith and devotion the story of Daksha Yajna, then it may clear us of all contamination of material existence. That's good. Pretty good. Okay. So okay, sorry. Always too quick when I'm a bit excited. And I see that I think many of you speak good English. Because today, I won't make you work too hard. Not today. Narayani, would you mind to open the other side? I was good. I tried to prepare. No, because you may attack me. So, if we are looking to remember what happened, this story of the Daksha Yajna, what it explained, one point I wrote there is, we have to figure out, well, what happened? What just happened in this last chapter? Another point in terms of what's relevant to me, and also maybe a point on doubts or things that need more clarification. And then some of you have admitted to me, as myself, that sometimes we've sat in class and we're not quite sure at what point the story began or what it was speaking about. Because if you look at this, okay, every time I'm too fast, stick your hand up, okay? Then I sort of know. Note now, I'm speaking very slowly. This chapter has 61 verses. So that roughly takes more than 10, 11 weeks if you are sitting here. And it's quite a lot to take, each time. Mataji, who has birthday today, the one who has birthday, she just came for a day. Or how long do you stay, Mataji? You came for the day. So then, what's it like? It's very nice that you came for class, but you're like, okay, but what happened? So don't worry, it's fit for everyone today. So how do we figure out what happened? I make it easy today. I just go through the answers I came up with. And if somebody has another point, they can put their hands up. So what happened is literally like, if you are studying, maybe we have our Shireen online. She's a medical student, very enthusiastic. She comes in a few days. When you're studying in university, the teacher or someone explains what happens, and then there's somehow a summary, right? I think in Deutsch, an Übersicht, some overview of what's gone on. And so how can we make that overview? Because, we finished. Chapter 8 already dives into Dhruva Maharaj leaving home. So we're already on another topic. So you're like, okay, we were just on Daksha, and now it's gone over. So then what I did, which I will tell you didn't take long, maybe half an hour of my time. Let's do slowly. Okay, it didn't. Oh, the Mataji, that's what we do. It's like okay, I'm good. I'm just giving the sort of lead in, that's why. The lead in. It gets better, I hope. Husbands. Okay, so I'm trying to stay on topic. So I went from the beginning of the chapter. I don't know, do some of you have the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam app on your phone? Or an app where you can access the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? If you don't have it, it's very easy to find. Yeah. So for example, I just use the app because I had things to do. But you could also just take the book and then quickly read through the translations. The translations are fairly short. 61, it's like equivalent of 3 or 4 pages. So for example, my summary began like this. So text 1, Lord Shiva is pacified by Lord Brahma's words. The second text, Lord Shiva says he doesn't take a serious view of the offenses that, like, for example, Daksha committed, but then he lays out how he punishes them. Text 3 goes on to say that the head of Daksha that was cut off was burnt to ashes, so now we give him the head of a goat, like this. And then he lays out the... So it's chapter 7 from... No, but it's my own summary. So basically in text 3 to 5 are the punishments that's laid out by Shiva. Text 6, everyone is pleased to hear what Lord Shiva has to say. Text 7 and 8, Daksha gets his goat head. So he's like unconscious without a head lying there on the floor. And then his body gets joined to a goat, as normal point of view. Now we're talking about chapter 7, text 9. So Daksha becomes conscious. And I think in this purport, or a bit later, Prabhupada then explains that in modern science, normally if the head is cut off, then that's it. But this, we understand there is a different logic to the working of a human being. There is consciousness.
Sorry, where we are not used to translating something a little bit.
Yeah. We're not anywhere. It's my own summary. That's why it's like.
I cannot translate so quickly. I'm not used to translating.
I know. Yeah. What to do? I'm just talking. Okay. Speak slowly. Okay. So text 9. Yeah. So Daksha becomes conscious. By text 10, Daksha is cleansed just by seeing Lord Shiva. In 11 to 12, he becomes overcome with bereavement and awakens to his real senses. So imagine all these chapters beforehand, Daksha has been offending Lord Shiva. This is where it all began. Puffed up by envy, he has basically not respected Lord Shiva. Text 13 to 15, Daksha offers prayers to Lord Shiva. In particular, he says, you took compassion upon me, so you took compassion upon me and saved me by awarding punishment. And then from text 16, it's like Daksha is pardoned, and then the arrangements for the yajna can begin. Text 17, till 18, they purify the area for the sacrifice. And Daksha, just with Yajurveda mantras, does something within the yajna, and Lord Vishnu appears in his Narayana form. Imagine that. Some yajna, Ramananda's yajna, and then Narayana forms. Text 19 to 21. So this was a highlight for me. This is a beautiful description of Lord Vishnu. One can really meditate on it. The next text, they are offering obeisances to Vishnu. And then from text 26 to 47, there is a glorification of the Lord. And this if one was to make a drama or a theatre of such a thing, we can understand. One is in the sacrificial arena by the yajna. If you wanted to make a theatre, so imagine you wanted to make a theatre, you're the yajna, and the Lord Narayan is there, and he is glorified by these, what would be the actors or the ones appear. There is Daksha, priest. Who else was there? Lord Shiva, Sri Bhrigu, Brahma, Indra, the wives of the performers of sacrifice, it says. Sages, siddhas, the wife of Daksha, and so on. Then later on, right near the end, at text 48, Daksha begins the yajna. Text 50 to 54, roughly, Vishnu talks of Brahma, Lord Shiva and Vishnu, which is what we've heard a lot in the last week or so. Text 55, Daksha, after listening to Vishnu's instructions, worships Brahma and Shiva properly. Then these verses today, we just heard what happens to Sati, as she finally takes form as Durga or Ambika and marries Shiva. And then the last two texts are about glorifying or reciting the story. This was a summary. I don't know if it was too much. At least to translate was maybe too much. So in one sense, it's just this, okay, what happened? This verse was called the sacrifice performed by Daksha. And in our heads, we can recap, okay, this is what happened in that story. When we talk about the next point here, what's relevant to us? Okay, sorry. The next point here, we talk about what's relevant. When we are reading or we are listening, if we want to sincerely hear, then there will be something often that is relevant to us. Could be something comes up in a class that is different than might come up for Venurati, for example. But usually, sometimes it needs some, some work, some base work to find out what it was. Or a remembrance. Some work, you need to do some work. Muss ein bisschen arbeiten oder nachdenken oder so weiter. Zum Denken über was wir haben, was war relevant. Relevant? Was ist relevant für mich? I don't know is relevant ein deutscher Wort? Yeah. So for example, a highlight for me, like I said, was this recitation, I think roughly in Ramananda text, I will tell you, chapter 7, text 20, I think, let me get to it, and then I tell you if it was really like this. You can read, or you can just point it out, then it's easier to recite it. Yes, 20, yes. Canto 7, chapter 7, text 20. Text 20. She has the book, huh? So should I read this verse? Huh? It's a very nice meditation on how Lord Narayan appears. His complexion was blackish, his garment yellow like gold, and his helmet as dazzling as the sun. His hair was bluish, the color of black bees, and his face was decorated with earrings. 20, ja? Text 20. His 8 hands held a conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, arrow, bow, shield, and sword, and they were decorated with golden ornaments such as bangles and bracelets. His whole body resembled a blossoming tree, beautifully decorated with various kinds of flowers. That was, like, for example, something that was like, oh, so beautiful. Imagine Lord Narayan in front of us, huh? Like with this blackish form, huh? dazzling as the sun, his helmet, and so on. Such a beautiful image. Also, there were other points in there, like, for example, in text 44, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the book containing topics exclusively about Krishna and his devotees. And he speaks also of Bhagavad Gita. These two books are the special nectar of the words of Krishna. In that purport, for example, he talks about why should we read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as well as Bhagavad Gita. What are we there to understand? It's a high level of topic, right? This high level. Some of the other purports there in this chapter also discuss how with our material conditioning, we want to seek pleasure in material things. And to try to find pleasure in spiritual matters is then very hard, very difficult, just to change that view in. To end, I thought, okay, what was for me important or something about this chapter? And I thought, what was interesting on my point of view was, okay, Daksha behaved quite badly. There was heavy reaction. But in the end, he gets his punishment, he's forgiven, and then he is given the steps back on the right spiritual path. And then I was, okay, there is hope for us all, because of course they're very exalted devotees, but they really go astray, right? This happens. There is, in one of the texts it talks that they are cleaning up the sacrificial area, which was desecrated by Lord Shiva's servants. I was like, okay, what did they do? And then Prabhupada writes, they dropped urine and stool in these areas, like really quite gross, like matters is described there in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I'm like, okay, so you have a cleanup job, so such things. You're like, right, okay, it's quite dramatic, right, the whole way that it happens in the end, but each part of the chapter gives us a way of going a little bit deeper into the verse. So then, I would just write these things up here. Is this relevant for anyone? What do you think, Narayani? What is this? Are you like sleepy? What's Gopi Gita talking to us about?
For me, it will be helpful because I did not attend all the classes, so I'm a little bit lost. Like,
yeah. Did you get any points? What were some points that you remember from?
in general?
Yeah. Yeah. In general, just in general, from the overview, I think.
Yeah, like the importance also of realizing when we are committing offenses and to ask for forgiveness.
Oh, sorry. We can. So here, in terms of what happened, so in terms of a practical way, it's just like make your own summary. Yeah, a summary doesn't mean that you have to go through everything, right? Just a summary, read through, get inside your head. Okay, what happened here? Okay, now I know what's going on. Otherwise, one can end up feeling a bit confused. I was like this. What was relevant to me? So yeah, for yourself, highlights. Highlights. I don't know what that's in German. Like the Yeah, the höhepunkte. For example, I've spoken in other classes that sometimes one may make some post-it notes or something like that in verses which strike out to one, highlights, and any sort of morals. The point here also, there might just be some things that one doesn't understand, it could be. And then how do we deal with that? That's also fairly simple. One just made the point, okay, for example, what was this with Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, okay, didn't get it, for example. So then you find someone where you can speak about it so that it doesn't remain like a unclear point. And then lastly, for example, there are different points where we can study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Like for Bhagavad Gita, there is Surrender Unto Me, but there are also some books which are relevant to let me think, where am I saying? Oh, I didn't lose it, it's here. There is a book called A Retelling of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, for example, that's offered on BLS Radhadesha. It's a retelling. And that summarizes, for example, the 4th canto. There's one book that's just on this. I have another book here, which some of you may have seen, which is called Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam at a Glance. You saw this? Some of you? No. It's very amazing. It's the text is by Narayani, Devidasi or Mataji. And you will see here, it's a lot for the visual. This is, for example, the 10th canto as an illustration. Yeah, so this book goes into summarizing. So, for example, here, chapter 7, it says, it's not long, don't worry, Ramananda. Daksha, who now has the head of a goat, pacifies Lord Shiva and finishes the sacrifice. And then Lord Vishnu appears in the sacrificial arena. And here it has the 4th canto in the first part here. So you cannot see so much, but it's the sacrifice and what goes on. But it's very nice for us visual people, and also those who want to get it clear in their head what's going on as well. It's a nice book. You can have a look if you like at some point. So yeah, these are the different ways of looking and studying, okay, what happened, how is the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam relevant to us? Not just in maybe a specific point, but as a collection of understanding, a pastime connected with the Lord. Yeah, so, and this is a pastime centered on Daksha and Shiva, but one sees in the end that Vishnu appears in this form, and it's all glorious then in the end. Nice. So, does anyone have any questions or points? Or Mataji, you're from Dubai, or like, was it relevant for you to have an overview over how one can take? Yes. Sorry, you have, just because of online audience, it seems that. Hare Krishna. Is she audible? I think Vinurati, can you turn it on from the bottom? It doesn't sound. Oh, it should be green. It's a click. You don't really know like this. You click it or something. Click it.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's on.
Now it's
you knew
audible.
it. Huh?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, the recap was really nice about the whole story, and also the take-home points that you highlighted. It was really interesting. Why we should read Bhagavatam, that one also, and about the forgiveness, which Mataji also reiterated. But for me, what is my take-home is another additional point is the amount of effort that you have put in for the class. I mean, before giving any class, it's my learning personally that so much of studies, the other books, the extra references point, the diagram that you made, and the shlokas that we went through. I mean, we followed the regular traditional process of chanting the shloka and translation, but also this part of standing up and explaining us, it really touched me. I mean, it shows that you have gone through the entire chapter just for these 4 shlokas. So it's really amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You are good for my ego. Venurati, sorry, it goes to you. Is there anything that, how Mataji said, a take-home for you?
Yeah, I really like the recap of what happened. Like Narayani was also saying that she didn't, I also didn't attend all the classes. And I don't know what it is, because also when I moved into the temple in South Africa, we're doing the exact same canto.
No.
Yeah, and the exact same verses. And I was like, whoa, Krishna really wants me to look at this chapter. And I was like, I need to pay attention. Yeah, so it was so weird. It was like, why is this happening again? Yeah. But anyway, I really like this overview of everything. It was really nice. And I like how you also made a point to introspect, like what is relevant for us, what can I take back from it, and it made me go a little deeper, so I really appreciate this.
That was very nice, thank you. Do you wanna? Kishore, okay, good. Sorry that I pick on you, but it's very few, but it's nice you all were ready to speak. Sometimes I wonder that devotees don't come because I might ask them to say something, so thank you.
Ja, für mich war nochmal ein schöner Überblick. Dakshas Stolz und
so
Eitelkeit.
For her was For her was a good overview with Daksha.
Stolz und Eitelkeit hat ihn zu Fall gebracht.
Bright and what?
Eitelkeit.
Eitelkeit. Was ist Eitelkeit?
Auch Stolz, nicht Stolz, nicht. Ja, ist dasselbe wie Stolz. Hat ihn zu Fall gebracht und er kommt aber dann nachher zur Erkenntnis, was er da falsch gemacht hat, dass er so viel Schaden angerichtet hat.
He gets to understand what he made wrong, Daksha, yeah.
Ja, er kommt dann zur Einsicht und wird dann demütig.
Und dann ist humble.
Also mit Demut kommt man viel weiter als mit Stolz und Eitelkeit. Das ist das, was Krishna überhaupt nicht leiden kann.
Then if you are proud and Stolz und was hast du gesagt?
Und Eitelkeit, ja.
Stolz und Eitelkeit. We don't know what Eitelkeit means. Being proud.
Ja,
super.
Ja, und aber schön zu sehen, dass er dann einsichtig wird und dann in dieser Einigkeit sind dann alle wieder miteinander richtig verbunden. Ja.
Aha, she said all these, I think, different parts that are all somehow connected to each other. It's all tied off nicely. Yeah. Yeah, so this is also a nice point there too. It's like it's a lot of detail in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Like, du kannst so einfach da lassen, Kishore kann denken. There's a lot of detail, like how Shiva explains the punishments in different ways. Like he gets the head of a goat, and I think someone else gets the hair of the goat for a beard. You know, it goes into a lot of detail about what's going on. You know, so one can really visualize it to what's happening, and in this way, it clears up. I think this. I don't know if one can say confusion is on this level of tamagun, on ignorance. It's sort of in between. We don't know what's happening. And for me, in particular, the reason I looked over what's happening is because sometimes I've gone away a bit confused as to what happened in the class today or what's happening in the story. Others seem to know it so well, and then, okay, is it just me who's not sure what's going on? But I think even if you were here for many of the classes, it's, too slower. Even if you were here for many of the classes, it's sometimes hard to get that summary unless you sort of look through yourself. The Kishori-kun took some points. She's always here for class. But still that refreshment, and then also to go to that next point. I believe or wonder if that's also the reason why we have a Krishna book. So if we just have Canto 10, you have text and translation and more, but a Krishna book is written so it has a flow that goes through. And for me sometimes then I need that also of the other stories, that there is a flow to read what's happening in the story. It's like if I tell you a story and then I explain the higher points each time, it takes much longer, right? And you're like, what were you trying to say, or what happened again? So that's the point there. So very nice. I think you all seem to get the points that I try to give like this. So I think we can end the class already at this point, if that's okay for everybody. And I wish you a good day. I wish you really that you take some time to look into the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. There might be other stories or other parts that you think, actually, let me just read this through. Let me get it in. Seriously, it didn't take so long to go through. It took some time of how one formulates, but just to read through the verses goes super quick. And each time with the phone, a new app appears, which, like my new one for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, goes very quickly through the verses. Sometimes it's a bit long, but it's very nice. So really recommend this usage of modern technology as well. Mataji, wishing you a very good birthday and a nice day ahead back to Dubai and also in your spiritual life. Okay, all the very best. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Krishna. Mananda Gopal, dear husband, Gita. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to get a lecture at home for talking. One official ashram, one you don't even have to come.
No, thank you for the class. It was so nice. Today we have a meeting here. Is that at 3 or 4?
At 3 o'clock.
At 3.
But we try to keep it short and sweet. 3 to 4. When are you leaving? Today. What time?
Maybe after lunch.
After lunch, okay. If we have a Kiel time from around 3:15 till 4. Today? Yeah.
Okay. Then we need to change our logistics then.
Yes, if we can just stay for that.
Yeah.
We'd love to. Yes, these are both nice things.
We were asking for kirtans yesterday actually. That is gonna be such perfect. We need to tell from that we need.
Yeah, just do. So 3 o'clock if we meet, then we just have a little bit over something that's happening next week that I wanted you to put in, as you tell the others, because I need to get your, basically, EU youths are there, and I spoke because it's less people, and it's mostly girls that we should invite, the ashram girls and yourself who are, because it's an age range meant to be up to 28, 29, so most girls fit in this range, but I had